Oh, fuck. The Predator! The crappy Predator. Predatorful. It is predating fucking awful. It is so bad I had to invent a new term, which is piss-wank. It's a piss-wank. It's piss-wank. It's a wank that you have when you should have been having a piss. It's a piss-wank. It's a wank where you realise that instead of having a wank, you should have been having a piss. Because the feeling in your knob you thought was horniness, but it was actually just the need for a piss. It's a piss-wank film. I just made that up just now. Now let's see if we can pop the eyes out of this little Predator and put my eyes in there, shall we? Look at his little vagina mouth. Look at his little vagina mouth in there. So I always found that interesting that they chose to make it a vagina mouth. Just popping his eyes out here. So I can put my eyes in there. Yeah, I always found it sort of interesting that they put a vagina mouth for him, because there's back in those days, you know, you had Alien and Aliens with all the different strange sexual imagery going on, and then Predator as well had this strange sexual imagery where you had this like I can't actually see through this. Ow! The thing hit me in the eye. The paper got me in the eye. A little bit of paper. Anyway. Oh, hold on. This is wicked. Oh, I ruined it though because I didn't do that. Well, there were scissors there all along and I didn't even fucking use them. Let's snip it. Okay. Oh man, I'm totally going to get stabbed in the eye by small pieces of paper. So why do I think this film was terrible? Well, if you haven't seen it, spoilers, bing bing bing, awesomely spoilering. I don't think there's anything really to spoil apart from the fact that the next one is going to be Iron Man Predator. Basically, it's going to be Iron Man Predator versus Iron Man. Predator 2, no Predator the Iron Predator probably is what it's going to be. Iron Predator Man, whatever. Yeah. That's actually quite menacing, really. I think his face goes with my hair in some ways. That makes sense. He's got the same sort of style hair as I have. It's all going upwards. Right, we'll leave that for a while now. That's good. That's very good. So, that is good. Welcome to the Predator movie review with me, Ross Alastair Wilson. That is my name. It's not who I am. I have millions of names, and the who I amness is not the nameness. For that which can be named is not the eternal Ross. The Ross that can be named is not the eternal Ross, as the book of the Ross Tae Ching, in Chinese philosophy, literature, spirituality, whatever. That's true. So yeah, so I'm Ross Alastair Wilson. Welcome to my channel, and we're going to do a quick little ranty review about the Predatorful Predator film that I watched last night. Now, it's only because I've seen a couple of reviews, let's get some air in here, that I can even remember anything that had happened in the film. Because it's just like watching, it's just like watching a load of ants scurry around on the floor, and then at the end of it, someone just squishes the foot down on them, and you can't remember who was who, what was what they were up to, which ants were carrying little pieces of sand, and which ants were carrying little pieces of twig, and which ants were like carrying like other ants on their back. No one fucking cares, basically, is what I'm saying. And the metaphorical squish is the foot squish of the ant is just me leaving the cinema and going, I can't. My mind is not ever going to remember that. It's almost like I'm actually going to... It's not even unforgettable in the sense of I'm going to forget what happened in it. I think I am just going to forget that it even happened in my life. I'm going to forget that I even went to see it. I'm going to... Like, it's just going to pass through my memory as like a piss wank. It's like, how many pisses do you remember having? And how many wanks do you remember having, right? You don't sit there and recall that one amazing piss that you went for. Okay, maybe one or two when you were really, really desperate and you remember that time. I remember going for a crap one time, and it was a particularly meaningful one because I've been waiting for it for about an hour. My butt was bursting and I was at work and someone had to come and cover me. I was working at Legoland and I couldn't leave because I was the only person on that particular stall, and I had to wait for an hour with my butt with a giant poo waiting to explode out of it. So that was a meaningful poo, but pisses less so. I remember one piss where I pissed myself in my childhood, so that was a memorable one. But all my other pisses from then onwards, I can't remember them. This is a piss wank film. Similarly with wanks, how many glorious uber wanks have you ever had? You've never had a supreme wank, have you? You just have them. They're just a regular thing. It's like, how many cups of tea have you ever had? It's a piss wank tea. It's a tea piss wank. You never remember the supreme glorious cup of tea or the supreme glorious wank or the supreme glorious piss, do you? No, you don't. But you do remember the supreme glorious shags that you've had. That is what the original Predator is. It is a supreme glorious shag of a film, right? And this latest film is a piss wank. It's a tea piss wank, cup of tea piss wank. I hope you get my metaphor. It's completely unmemorable, completely forgettable. It's ridiculous. It's terrible. It's awful. Why? Terrible, crappy humor all the time. Some of the jokes I found offensive as well, like the Whoopi Goldberg, like alien predator. The alien. What's the fucking line? Like one of the characters says, "Yeah, the predator. It's basically like an alien version of Whoopi Goldberg." I'm like, well, that's racist. That's offensive to Whoopi Goldberg. Like, what? I mean, it's bad enough that the Predator looks like a fucking dreadlocked black dude anyway, that they've obviously monsterized. And, like, it's bad enough that it already has racial undertones or overtones, whatever. And then they go and say that. I'm just like, fuck this, fuck this, fuck. And I found the whole thing about the Asperger's actually offensive as well. Because this one character, this kid, has got Asperger's, and it's a ridiculously overblown portrayal of Asperger's. Like, he's a genius child, and he can't stand loud noises, and those are his two Aspergic symptoms, right? And he's a little bit sort of awkward and shy, and maybe he walks slightly, has a difficulty with walking. It's ridiculously, what do you call that? Stereotypical. It's not even stereotypical. It's a caricature of Asperger's, and it's offensive. It's actually offensive to what they've done with that, and it's offensive that they've singled this kid out as being a plot device, that because he's the next evolution of the human race, because he's got Asperger's, that he is then going to mate somehow with the predators. Like, they're going to take his blood and put them in there. That's part of the plot point, basically, that the predators wanted to find. Like, they actually call him the ultimate warrior. They call this kid, because he's got Asperger's, he's the ultimate warrior according to the big ugly predator guy, and they've come to get him, to get his DNA, to make a super hybrid predator with human DNA in it that they've got from this kid. And it's obviously an agenda, stupid fucking Hollywood type agenda, to promote positive relations, or a positive image of people with Asperger's. And it's so ridiculously two-dimensional, and offensively so, as I say, because it's completely, like, it's a totally inaccurate view of people with Asperger's. And it's like they don't understand Asperger's, for one thing. I don't proclaim to understand it, but I definitely know that they don't understand it in this film. And and it's like, oh my god. It's offensive because it's just it's using these ideas of what Asperger's is to promote some social agenda thing, and it's actually devaluing the character who has this Asperger's. It's spreading stupid misconceptions about Asperger's as well, and it's like, oh fuck that. So why is that even in there? Why is there a kid in a Predator film as well? Like, why is there a kid in what is essentially a sci-fi horror gory thing? What just I don't know what is going on and why that is there. You know, and if you compare and contrast this film to the original film, this most latest film is just piss wank. It's just like a bunch of ants running around everywhere, as I say, and the script is like each line of the script is a little ant just waiting to be squished. It's just a terrible, like, just bleh, load of vomit everywhere. It's just a vomit film. So vom. The screenwriters and the director have just vommed onto a screen, vom, and you have to pick out if any of these pieces of the vomit are actually nutritious. And then you realise, like, about 10 minutes or 15 minutes the way through, I'm picking through vom. Halfway through you're going, I've been picking through vom to find a good decent bit of nourishment. Why am I going to eat a piece of vomit? You know, like, imagine that. Imagine that you're so hungry and starved and malnourished that you're looking through someone's vomit on the floor to find a piece of nourishment to take away with you. That's what this film is. Man, if I ever make films, I hope there's going to be no one gives the review of my films ever, because I mean, I would never give a review of my own film. Maybe I would. Maybe I should just trash my own films in the future. I'll say, this film that this Ross Wilson has made is a pile of vom on the floor, and I'm trying to search my way through this pitiful piece of wank. Yeah, anyway. So terrible jokes all the time. Like, I didn't have that much of an issue with it when it was in Marvel, and in the Star Wars, I definitely had an issue with it with the Last Jedi humour. And this one, it's less offensive to me, it's just more irritating. It's just fucking irritating. Like, in The Last Jedi, I found the humour, like, grating and unintelligent and stilting the story and awkward and off as in just missed. Everything missed in The Last Jedi. It was just like, this is flat and terrible. It's like they're dad jokes almost, where you go, and it's just cringy that they've put these terrible jokes in there. This film, the jokes, I'm just like, just stop it. They're not that funny. I don't care. You're ruining the story. Why are you putting jokes in a fucking Predator film as well? It's a fucking Predator film. It's like, well, why didn't we just stick a load of gags in the original Alien film? Yeah, we're all about to be killed by a fucking penis. And I just don't know. Why didn't they just pin one of these predators down and crack a joke about it, like saying, "Oh look, his mouth looks like a minge." Oh God! Hey everybody, why didn't we all crowd around the predator and make a few jokes about the little fanny in his face instead of making terrible offensive jokes? Other terrible offensive jokes, you know. Oh man. So it's just a shitfest. I think there's like two bits that almost pass for good in my mind, and there's one bit where you've got a mutual suicide because these two people have been like killed. Now, the way that they've been killed, like one guy's been impaled on a tree branch, which is ridiculous. Oh, it just happened to land on a tree branch that stabs me all the way through, impales me on a tree branch. Yeah, just, you know, because that's likely to happen. Oh, the one place I could have fallen, right on a tree branch. And the other guy's got, I can't remember, he gets shot in half or something. He gets shot, a massive thing in his stomach. And I'm like, guys, you really don't have to you're not going to be long. You don't really have to kill yourself. You're not actually saving yourself that much time, you know. I think in real life, if you've been impaled on a tree branch and your center has been shot out, you're not lasting much longer than a few minutes. Like, you don't have time to... And the fact that they even had the thought in their mind, oh yeah, I'm gonna reach for my gun and I'm gonna kill the other bloke and we're gonna do this together. It's gonna be a mutual bro thing. Dude, you've been impaled on a fucking tree! Like, I squeal in agony when I stub my toe on the door, and I'm like, ah, fuck! You know, can you not? I mean, be realistic about the pain of that situation. There's not going to be any time to think of anything else other than I've been fucking jammed through a tree. You know, there's no thought in that moment. There's no time to make a decision about anything. You're just going to be there like, ah! Or you're just going to be completely just comatose by it immediately. And as soon as you get knocked unconscious from the shock of it, you die. Like, be realistic about these stupid deaths. Like, it's just ridiculous. So, you know, what the fuck? I think they ripped off a lot of stuff from Alien Covenant, actually, with the flying on the spaceship part. Like, so they're all on the spaceship, and I was like, this is just blatant. This is exactly like Alien Covenant, pretty much. That they fly about on the spaceship for a bit, and, you know, whatever. Nuts to that. And, as I say, each scene is like a little ant scribbling around. Each piece of dialogue is like a little ant waiting to be squished by the foot of time as I leave the cinema, and just to be forgotten and gone and dusted. I'm having to really squeeze my brain powers, come on, to actually think of anything that happened in the film. Oh, the other thing that I thought almost passes as good is the drunk dog, the drunk predator dog, who gets shot in the eye, which presumably would fucking muller him, but it didn't. It just lobotomized him, according to one of the Captain Exposition. There's a lady, a female character in there, who basically plays the role of exposition extraordinaire. If you don't know what exposition is, it's when I tell you the story as the story's happening. So it's like, here's a pair of scissors. Oh, look how the scissors are moving. Oh, look, the scissors have just opened. Oh, remember when the scissors opened a minute ago? Oh, remember when I picked up the scissors a minute ago? Oh, remember that these are scissors? And this is me opening the scissors and closing the scissors. And that's exposition. It's where a character in the story, a bit like what I'm doing now, is telling you, is narrating basically. He's acting like a kind of narrator, or telling factual information, like that they seem to just know everything about everything. Usually a scientist character, that they bring the like a kind of they try to move the story along by telling you the story basically, which is ridiculous. You don't need it in films. Like in the original Predator, there's no exposition in there. You just make it up. You just understand. It's obvious what's going on. No one has to tell you what's going on. When a film is trying to tell you what's going on while it's going on, you're like, you're an idiot. Why are you telling me what's just happened? I saw what just happened. Like, and there is even parts where it's to the point of utter ridiculousness that it's very, very obvious what has just happened. And then this, call her Captain Exposition, she goes, oh, that just happened in this way, and it means this, and this is why it happened, and this is the science of it, and this is what needs to happen next. Just like, oh God. Why don't you may as well just put a subtitle down the bottom that tells us the description of every scene as it's going on. And here the Predator is standing there looking at us and roaring. And he is doing that because he is angry or whatever. Like, man, it sucks. So Captain Exposition was annoying all the way through. I said to my friend, I was like, this is separate. This is about the humour thing. I said to my friend, I was like, this is like Predator, the sitcom version. Like, literally, it's just like a sitcom. It's terrible. It's terrible. They've got nice apartments in America, though. I'll say that much. What else? Oh, yeah, so the drunk predator dog, I thought he was almost good. He was almost good. The reason I say almost good was because it's completely unrealistic. He's been shot in the head by a bullet through his eye, and he's just like, yeah, I was a bit, I'm a bit drunk from it. Like, come on. It's just stupid. And he just plays fetch with various different, like, grenades and different things, and you're like, what is the point of this? And I swear he broke free from his little container he got into a container at one point in the back of a van and they shut it down. And then the next minute he's jumping around somewhere else. Like, did we miss a bit where he got free? Does anyone care how he got free? Maybe they just got to a point where they're just like, bollocks to it. Anything can happen now. Blah, blah, he's dead. Like, okay, we've got to kill. We've introduced a load of characters all of a sudden, and now we don't know what to do, so we're just gonna have to kill them all. Yeah, there's a part where the bad guys and the good guys suddenly team up when they were literally just about to kill each other, and they're like, oh well, now we've got to fight the Predator instead, so we're friends now, but after we've become friends, I'm definitely going to kill you, and then that never happens either. So it's like, what the fuck? Squish the ants, squish the ants, squish the ants. This is a terrible, very terrible film. And another thing I want to say about it, this was my face for most of the film. That was my face. And it kind of got worse as the film went on. So it started as like, and then it grew to, and they went, and then I was like, and then finally I was like, and as I went out, I was like, I am going for a turd, because that film has stirred the shit within me, and I resonated with the level of shit that was present in the film, and it has made my bowels move, and now I need to turd out that film. Basically, that film was a giant turd waiting to be plopped, and it plopped, so I went for a poo. Man, it's a piss wank. It's a tea piss wank turd of a film. There you go. So, yeah, and to contrast it with the Predator original, Predator, just one word. Oh man, what's the next Alien film going to be called? The Alien. Because we've had Alien, Aliens, and then they had Predator, Predators, right? So what's it going to be next in the Alien franchise? Alien, the Alien, the Alien. That now it's just sounding utterly ridiculous. Oh, have you seen that film, The Alien? The Alien. What's it about? An alien. All right, yeah. So, the thing with the original Predator film was that it was just so direct and tight, right? As in, it's so controlled as to and streamlined. The story had no fat on it. Everything was relevant to where the story was going. It was just it was like climbing up a mountain to the climax. So the suspense builds, and then you reach the climax of that movie, and it's brilliant. Because, it's just brilliant. It's brilliant the way they do that film. And this film, compared to that, it's just like a fucking vom shitfest. It's just diarrhea, screen diarrhea. Like, we got a load of ideas. Let's plop them in there and just go, oh, well, no one will notice. Like, maybe if we just put loads of ideas in, then maybe a few of them will stick in people's minds. Like, maybe people will come out and remember this part, and maybe some people will come out and go, well, that part was amazing. But really, there's nothing of any note in this film at all. I wish that they had just another thing. Yeah, this is what I wish they'd done. Well, I don't know if I do. I don't think it might ruin the original Predator, but I thought they could just literally do a direct remake of the original Predator film with different actors but better CGI, and just do a straight scene for scene remake, like dialogue for dialogue remake almost, or like just update some of the dialogue with present day references. That's it, and just do that instead, and just use it as an opportunity to make the most of the new CGI that we have these days. But as I said, I think they would just kind of devalue the original Predator film. But this devalues the original Predator film. I don't want to be looking in the Predator's eyes like that. They show a few times where you see the Predator's eyes up close, and I'm like, I don't need that. I don't need to connect with him on that level. I don't need to go, hello mate, how are you? The point of him as a thing, as a character, as a sort of metaphorical symbol, is he is the monster. He is a monster. He is a predator. It's not even predator. He's a monster. He's the demonized version of humanity. He's a very monstrous character. Yeah. And he's a monstrous masculine. He's a monstrous male. He is, He's a slaughterer, a killer. He does horrible, grotesque things with the victims. You know, his actions are unintelligible to us and very tribal, and they're very cruel. And it's all to do with sport and stuff. And it's like, this is a monstrous being. That's the point of him. And here he is going, hello! No, I don't need that. I don't know what they're trying to do with that. They're not trying to humanize him. But then there's a plot thread in there where they're talking about some predators have already had human hybrids. There is already human hybrids of predators. Like, so many of these tiny little bits of science and stuff get picked up and then dropped, and no one cares. And like, I can't believe I've spoken for this long about it, actually. I think I'm done. Go see it to ruin the franchise for yourself. It may be that if they do another Predator film, I just won't bother. But, I mean, it's a nice picture in a way. It's very, very nicely, nice symmetry on his face there, you know. This, I like this. It's very nice. It's like a little tree. Okay, let's go. All right, that's my review. Thumbs down, definitely. I will hopefully never see that film again. I have no motivation to ever see that film ever again. I believe it will naturally become wiped from my memory because of the nature of it, not because I try to erase it from my mind. I believe I will not even remember having seen it. Catch you later. Thanks for watching my review. Ross Alistair Wilson. Like, share, subscribe. Up yours. Catch you soon.